Hey, what's up, YouTube world? It's your girl here, the Venusian Bull, and I am back with another video in my Planets in the Houses series. And in this video, we are going to be discussing Uranus in the fifth house, all right? So, as a recap, the fifth house deals with dating, gambling, creativity, children, casual sex, expressing oneself, inspiration, sports, entertainment, entertainer, celebrity, admiration, compliments, and the eternal child, all right? So when we're talking about Uranus in the fifth, Uranus is all about being the rebel. It's all about being different, weird, quirky. It's about being innovative. It's technology driven. So I like to say that Uranus in the fifth house is like the innovative, creative. Like very inventive. It's actually a really good placement for like kind of the inventive mindset, like the scientific, like mathematical kind of, thinking person, and to mix that with, creativity. This is like the Einstein and I'm trying to think of like a really like creative person and like Picasso or something like, and just, kind of putting those energies together to create something new. It's all about the new and the next in the future. It's very futuristic kind of way of thinking with Uranus. So with Uranus in the fifth, you're always like ahead of your time. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, if you have Uranus in the fifth, your parents were always like kind of viewed as like kind of like weird and like quirky, or you just had a lot of like quirky, weird people in your life, growing up and stuff like that. Um, and obviously, that it becomes like that's like normal to you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a creative quirk. You know what I'm saying? It's like a different kind of quirkiness and things of that nature. And this is somebody who um, is really good with kind of bringing out, like when it comes to dealing with children, they could be really good at really bringing out their ability to, and this may sound boring, but it's really interesting, to like scientifically and mathematically compute things, to just like be able to explain on that. It's like, I always say like Uranus is like Mercury, like to the 10th power, so it's that communicative thing, but it's on a more broader scale, more futuristic scale. And you could really get like kids really enamored and really immersed, especially if you're doing a lot of like visual effects and things like that, and just things that just seem so like out of this world, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? This is the person that obviously is about being different. So while, yes, they do want to be famous, they do want to be recognized, they do want to be seen, but they don't want to be recognized for like the same old thing. Like, I don't want to just be like an Instagram model. No, I want to do something that's like for the people, for humanity. Uranus rules Aquarius, and Uranus is very much about humanity, like probably for the world's children. You know what I'm saying? So Uranus is very much about that life, and that's kind of how they want to be recognized and seen as, expressing themselves. They definitely want to be told, in terms of compliments and admiration, they want to be told how smart they are. They want to be told that they are smart, that they are geniuses in their creative pursuits and how they're expressing themselves. Make sure you mention to them how they were able to mix these dyes and create this different kind of hair. Make sure you make sure that you praise them for that. But they really are very smart and very, as young children, just really forward thinking and ahead of their time. And they're probably, creating projects, and they got labs in their basements and stuff like that, and just creating new technology, creating apps. Uranus is very technology driven. So when it comes to what is entertaining for you and what you like to do in terms of expressing your creativity, it's going to be very technology driven. It's going to be very social media driven, very internet driven. So that's, a sign of the times. That's like what we are in right now. So that's going to be a lot of the focus for Uranus in the fifth house, that energy. Um, Also, you got to remember Uranus also has to deal with surprises, erraticism, and like unexpected events. So, I would say particularly for Uranus transiting the fifth house, and Uranus transits a sign for a long time. Understand that. So it could be constant um, shocks and things like that that's happening as it pertains to fifth house related things. So like Jupiter in the fifth house, you could get lucky. You know what I'm saying? You could hit the jackpot. But then one time, like, you could, like, lose all your money. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful about when you're trying to gamble and things of that nature. Surprise pregnancies. I mean, when I say surprise pregnancies, I mean, like, you were not trying, you were not about that life, or you had been trying and trying and trying for years and it just, like, was not happening. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're pregnant and you're like, oh shit, I am able to get pregnant. So it could be that type of thing. So it could also be sudden disruptions in this type of thing. So especially like, let's say when it comes to dating and things like that, it could always be like sudden interruptions or shocks or surprising things that are happening when you're dating and meeting new people. And you definitely like to date and meet new people, but it's always something to it. It's always something that happens, or maybe you always are attracting the weird and the quirky kind of creative type of people, and things like that. Let me see. The interesting thing about the eternal child for having Uranus in the fifth is like, it's like eternally futuristic child, eternally like um peace, love, equality. Like, it's just very much, maybe even well, Bohemian can not be like very futuristic, but it could still be in terms of just being free. Uranus is another energy that likes to be free. They don't like to be tied down. So in terms of like stability, that could be very lacking when it comes to like dating and even children. Like, you could have that placement, and your parents could have just been like here, there, and everywhere. Like, you really appreciate the insight that they give you and the intelligence that they give off to you, but they're so unpredictable, you know what I'm saying? And you can't really depend on that energy all of the time. So just definitely keep that in mind. But this is very much the interesting, like, quirky, intelligent, inventive type of people. Like, they literally could invent something, like have a patent and invent something. And that's how they're known. That's how they become famous. You know what I'm saying? They could be the Alexander Graham Bell of the 21st century or something like that. Uranus in the fifth house. So that's pretty much it for Uranus in the fifth house. I don't think I have that much to say. Oh, and in reference to kind of like the children aspect, or like having children, I don't like to say this, but it could also be like a sudden death, or like a sudden um trauma that happens with a child, or something like that. So definitely try to be careful with your children. Obviously, the sudden death could also happen in stillbirth and things like that, like it can with Saturn. But Saturn in the fifth isn't really sudden. It's something that you kind of already know, or already know that it's capable of happening with your body. Uranus is just completely unexpected, or your child could be older and they could like get into a really bad accident on their bike or something like that, just, or get hit by a car, just something really crazy. So just always keep an eye on your kids when you got Uranus in the fifth house, because it's so unpredictable when it comes to those types of things. So I don't like to be speaking negativity into existence and stuff like that. I just like to keep it real so that y'all know that what to expect. All right. So that's it for Uranus in the fifth house. Remember to comment and like and subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video.